lateral eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center. Go! Go! We're out of here! We're out of here! Say ya, playa!
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks. Well, the people have spoken.
It is the fan vote game here on DWB. The people have spoken. Over 140 of you chose us to be in this press box tonight, as over 300 people voted in the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting fan vote bonanza. Woodstown Glassboro is being covered by our friends over at D2 Sports Network. They are 7-0 in the second quarter, but let's not talk about what's going around South Jersey. We'll get into that later. I'm Dan Wilkins here with Thomas Gaffney. We have an excellent night tonight between two teams that are trying to kind of wiggle their way into the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. Pitman is on the outside looking in at 19th in the South Jersey Group 1 power rankings. They're behind Kip Cooper and Highland Park. Now, we've seen Kip Cooper before. They shut out Gateway 16-0 back on October the 29th. So if Pitman wins tonight, I think it's very likely that depending on how Kip balances their schedule and how Highland Park plays in the famous South Jersey school Highland Park, we'll see how the playoffs kind of scrape themselves out a little bit, and we'll see where Pitman lands. Now, Gateway is a little bit further out. In fact, they've already scheduled a, quote, crossover game for next week in the event that they do not make the playoffs against Collingswood. And that could be a game that might be under our wing, depending on our availability on Saturday, November 2nd. But either way, Gateway has gone through a lot of adversity this year. In week 0, they lost to Kip Cooper, who had just won their second franchise game here at Angelo Natoli Stadium. But they have won all but 2 of their home games, and this is their 6th home game of the year. So they have been home a lot. And this is a team that's not too far down the road, and certainly, maybe not a huge rival, but they certainly get into some feisty games. And this is what we love to see here. This is just gritty, unfiltered South Jersey Group 1 football. And for Gateway, they're on their second quarterback of the year with Gianni Pembroke. They lost Aiden Bender with a torn ACL back in week 2, and now they are dealing with Pembroke, who has an under 50% pass completion rate, but is going to try to fight his Gators through the oncoming winds and find his way into the end zone a couple times tonight. Thomas, your thoughts on tonight?
Yeah, it's Gateway kind of can try to play spoiler here against Pitman, because Pitman, like you said, they're right there on the cusp with the South Jersey Group 1, trying to make their way into the playoffs. And now Gateway coming in at home, like you said, they played majority at home all season. And now they're kind of fighting adversity all year. They're on the second quarterback, Gianni Pembroke, and now coming back in. Got to get a win. It's also homecoming week for the Gateway Gators. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a great game. Hopefully they can pull one away to start off the homecoming festivities.
Look, we don't cover Gateway for no reason. This is an enthusiastic crowd. The athletic director, Mike DeChico, prepares 15-page long game notes for all the media, whether we're here or not. This is one of the most passionate fan bases and one of the most dedicated fan bases in South Jersey. They care about their teams, whether it's football or basketball or baseball. They care about all of them. And for Pitman tonight, they've got Dane Collum as the quarterback. We saw Kyle Kubat a handful of times last year in his senior year, and they're basically taking that transition in stride. Collum is passing for nearly 70% this year, and they have a litany of guys, including Trey Tinges, on the rushing and receiving core. And for a team that's so small like Pitman, they found a way to break through, and even in the Royal Division, crack a 5-1 record here in 2024.
Yeah, I love that you brought up Trey Tinges. He's been absolutely amazing all year. 91 attempts, 520 yards rushing, also 12 touchdowns. And you also have to look at it. He's also a great player on the receiving side. 12 receiving yards, 210 or 12 catches, 210 receiving yards. So he's kind of been doing everything on offense, and he's been their main player. If Pitman can try to get him involved, they can definitely try to edge one out here, try to get a win. But again, they've had the great offense this year. Defense has also been great. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. Their last loss was against Gloucester Catholic, 21-20. 4 games ago, and they've outscored their opponents 144-21. So they're coming in with an amazing offense to try to kind of get the upper edge here tonight and try to beat this good Gators team.
Well, I'll tell you this, Pitman has been on the upper edge recently. They've only allowed 9 points in the last 2 matchups against Gateway. Before then, Gateway had the last 2 about 10 years ago, and really, this is not that much of a storied matchup, but it is 2 small communities in 2 small towns here in South Jersey, and they're ready to duke it out tonight. We've got an excellent WJFL Royal matchup tonight, as it is a royal night indeed for everybody here in the Gateway crowd here at Angelo Natoli Stadium. I'm Dan Wilkins here with Thomas Gaffney. Ryan Sievers on the production. We've got Billy McCauley shadowing us tonight. We'll be right back. It is a packed booth, but we're ready for 48 minutes of WJFL football right after this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red bombs bursting in, gave proof through the
Shannon Summers, the Gateway alum, class of 2023, just ripped that national anthem. That was amazing. All right, well, we're almost ready to go. I did not see... Oh, they haven't... I don't even think they've done the coin toss yet, so... I was going to say I didn't know who won the toss, but I don't even think they've done the toss yet, so... There we go. Like we said, Pitman coming into tonight's game 5-1. Their lone loss was a road 21-20 squeaker against Gloucester Catholic in week 2, back on September the 14th, and then Gateway's at 4-4. They've been a little bit all over the place this year. They've won some good games. They've lost some squeakers. And, you know, of course, they had a stretch where they had lost back-to-back in 2 separate occasions versus Kip Cooper and Haddon Township, where they lost their starting quarterback, Aiden Bender, in his senior year. And there was a real bad stretch against Clayton and Woodbury where they only scored 14 points in 2 weeks while losing 41-7 and 35-7. They have bounced back and now have found a way to shut out their opponents in back-to-back weeks. A 16-0 win over Gloucester Catholic and a 33-0 win over Mastery Camden last week. So it's going to be fun. And if Gateway can shut out Gloucester Catholic and Pitman lost to Gloucester Catholic, then the mutual opponents definitely make this a bit interesting. Pitman in the orange and white jerseys with the orange numbers. Gateway in their blue tops, blue shorts, and white jersey accents. It's going to be a fun one. I'm up here in the booth. Thomas Gaffney, our color commentator, Ryan Siever, our producer, and our volunteer assistant for the night, Billy McCauley. He's up here with us. We have a packed house, not just in the booth, but also in the grandstands as well. It is a beautiful Friday night, 58 degrees and clear. I would say not a cloud in sight, but the sun is set a long time ago. So Gateway has won the toss and has deferred to the second half. As Pitman, who has only allowed 9 points in the last 2 matchups against this Gateway team in 2023 and 2022, with a 20-6 win and a 14-3 final, now looking to extend that streak, with Gateway winning the other 2 matchups in 2014, 42-7, and 38-26 in 2013. But I'll remind you this, there was a point less than 10 years ago where Pitman was a JV team and only played a handful of games every year. And now they're back to being varsity status, had an excellent year last year, and now looking to keep the tides rolling and squeak their way into the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. The band is playing, the cheerleaders are moving around, and we are ready to go from Gateway Regional. And away we go. Squeaker of a kick, or a liner of a kick rather, goes to the 30. It'll be returned to about the 45. That was Hudson Rue, the senior, on the return, the multi-sport athlete for this Pitman team. And Pitman will take over for their first offensive drive at their own. It's like 44. For Pitman this year, they've had to deal with, you know, a bit of a quarterback change with a lot of their core receivers and quarterbacks graduating, Kyle Kubat being one of them, along with Stephen Devaney in the receiving slot, as Column, on the first snap of the day, hands it off to the right side. Oh, and a big hit. He goes out of bounds. Will Clark on the carry. And William Clark picks up a couple yards there. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's number 4. Trey Tinges. See, that number 4, if you look at that jersey so closely, it looks like an 11 with a little stroke through the middle. So I apologize. That was not Clark. And in fact, their leading rusher, Trey Tinges, yeah, you could see that one coming. That'll be either third down or a first down, depending on where they spot this. He got about 5 yards, and it will be a Pitman first down. But as we said, Dane Collum coming into this game with a 70% passing completion rate, So he's ready to go. And it's not like he's had a small sample size. He's attempted 66 passes this year. Not a shabby number by any means. Another handoff to Jenkins. He is going to break free, and he stumbles his way to 36. This will be another Pitman first down. They have converted on back-to-back plays. And hey, if it ain't broke with Tinges, no reason why you don't go to him here.
It's a back-to-back plays by Tinges, and again, they've gotten a significant amount of yards so far on both of those drives and both of those plays. So, again, like you said, if it's not broken, it's not, you don't have to fix it. Great Tinges just getting the ball the whole time.
They do send Tinges in motion. That was a low snap, but instead it'll be a keeper by Column. That will get him a few yards, and that was really the first play of the night that didn't go as planned. Pitman had gained 5 or more yards on every snap, and they still have not had either an incompletion or a loss of yards on any play. So this has been a very proactive and efficient drive as they now spot this at the 34.
And plays happen like that all the time in football. You see it, especially high school football. Sometimes there's a play that gets broken up there. But again, you have to keep your head up. You have to keep going back out there. You know that you've already gotten significant yards on this drive. You just got to keep out there and keep going.
2nd and 7 here for Column. Handoff to number 3, Tyler Marone. He drives that one to the left side on the doorstep of the red zone.
And he's kind of been the guy that's right behind Tinges. And 29 attempts, 181 yards, 1 touchdown on the season. He also has a receiving touchdown. He's kind of that secondary guy that they love to hand the ball off to.
You got an RB1 in Tinges and an RB2 in Marone as a first down is set up from the 24. As Pitman, like we said, has gained 3 or more yards on every play in this drive. And they are looking to make a very early impact here in Week 8 versus the Gators. They fake the throw. Now Tinges in a spin cycle on his feet, and he dives forward. That's going to be close. It won't be a score, but it at least gets them within 2 yards. I mean, Tinges stayed on his feet and maybe got another 5 or 6 yards after contact, after basically being put in a spin cycle.
Tinges, kind of a guy who averages more than 5 yards a carry. They just keep giving him the ball. He almost scored a touchdown there, down the 1. Would not be surprised if this ball's handed right back to him.
And, you know, we've seen some players this year in the Royal Division like Demetrius Williams, who has averaged 13 yards a carry this season. But 5 yards a carry is still no shabby number, as they are going to try to drive this one through on the 2-yard line. It's a goal. Pitman scores. And the Panthers strike first with 3 minutes and 5 seconds elapsed in this one. And an easy score for Pitman as a 55-yard drive only takes 3 minutes to get into the end zone. That'll be a muddle huddle here now for the Panthers. Tinges will hold. Their kicker is Hudson Rue, who was a soccer player for several years and last year joined the Pitman football team as a place kicker. That one is up, away, and it's good. It had the highest arc I think I've ever seen on a high school PAT, but it's good, and it's 7-0. We're going to take a quick break. We are 3 minutes through, and the Panthers are on the board first. Pittman getting ready to kick this one off. They lead 7-0. Rue on the PAT, a 2-yard rush. Gets them on the board first. They're finally setting down the ball here. Don't forget, tomorrow in the afternoon at 12 noon, we've got ourselves a good matchup between the Salem Rams and the Penns Grove Red Devils to close out the regular season in the Battle of Exit 2. Vincent Vogt and I will be on the call for that one. 12 noon start time from Penns Grove High School. Here is Rue, the senior, to kick. Again, you can see that soccer element in Hudson Rue's kick where he doesn't get a lot of height, but he brought that back inside the 20. That was DJ Bink, the younger brother of Ty Bink, a Gateway alum who's now playing Division II football over at New Haven. So that Bink family has definitely made a name for themselves as the Gators, but Gateway has their first offensive drive of the night. Now, Aiden Bender tore his ACL at Haddon Township earlier this year, but with Gianni Pembroke at the helm, he has been a great passer this year, and he has mostly handed off the ball to Aiden Barbado, who has nearly 700 rushing yards, 6 TD, and on the defensive side of the ball, as one has to do in South Jersey Group 1, 45 total tackles in his career. Pembroke passes to the right side. It is incomplete, intended for Finger. And Finger did not get any fingers on that ball, second down. That's just one of those things where that's not Pembroke's fault there. He just had to find his receiver. It looked like Finger had it, and then he didn't. There's not a whole lot you can say about that, but it's second down.
But if he was able to catch that ball, there's a lot of space in the open field where that could have definitely been a 10, 15-yard gain as well.
And they need that early in the game. Obviously, you don't want this game to get out of hand on your home court. Want to be able to strike first and strike early and take advantage of what Pittman has done already. The handoff to Barbado. You could hear a little bit of ruckus there after a big tackle after the whistle.
Gain of 1, players of 3rd and 9.
That was Chase Rainey on the tackle.
And this is kind of what you like to see if you're the Pitman Panthers. You're kind of backing them on up in 3rd and long, and you're in their own end. So now, if they can't get this, and if you stop them, they're gonna have to force the punt. So you get the ball right back.
And Gateway has had their success on the punt crew this year, but you don't want to get there. You don't want to force that hand. You want to get a first down here. And we've got flags as the play. Pittman was, I don't know if Pittman had ants in their pants or what. It is Gateway a false start. That felt like almost like a modified hard count there where they were kind of prancing around. They weren't crossing the line of scrimmage, but they were trying to force Gateway to move, and they did. And that sets up 3rd and 14 from their own 30 now, as that road to a first down has just gotten a little bit more difficult. Here we go on 3rd and 14. Pembroke in the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers on each side. Oh, he's in trouble. That's Marone, and he will have a host of orange and white on the sack. The sack, Marone was in on it. Millward got a hand in as well. They might count a half sack for both. And that will set up 4th and about 20, as that was not the break Gateway needed here early in the first quarter.
Yeah, and they sent the extra man. You couldn't really do anything about that if you're Pembroke. Kind of got the pressure right on you. You couldn't really do anything, couldn't throw it away. And now that's great if you're Pittman. Now you force a punt, and now you can get the ball back in a very, very good position on the field, very good area to try to get another score.
Look at this punt. It is going to be a good one for DJ Bink. It's a low hanger, and it goes to the 33. It is picked up by Dylan Pruitt, and now Pittman will take over on offense. We've got some out-of-town scores to report. It is 7-6 7-6 Woodstown at the half. in that WJFL Diamond Division Championship game. St. Augustine leads Millville in an upset right now with 14-7 at the half. The Triton Mustangs lead Thomas Gaffney's alma mater of Deptford 14-0. Washington Township leads Timber Creek 7-0. And Matt Cosentino is actually here for the Pitman Gateway game. I didn't think we'd see a lot of reporters here, but Cosentino is hanging around there somewhere. So he's working for the Courier Post tonight. Pitman takes over on their own 33, 1st and 10. Sending Salerno in motion. Handoff to the right side, almost ran into his own man, and now Tinges is going to break away for a first down to the 48. And Tinges, again, the right-hand man for Dane Collins tonight and throughout this entire season. They have found a way to use him effectively.
You just see how patient he is in the backfield. He gets the ball, he sees that the hole isn't opening up in the offensive line, and he decides to break out to the numbers. And again, an amazing run, another great run for Tinges once again. Now they're almost about to pass halfway. And once again, they've been kind of dominated on the offensive side. They dominated defensively in that last drive for the Gators, and now they look to try to just keep flying pressure to his team.
Collum in the shotgun. Oh, that's more movement, but it wasn't called. Now here comes a deep ball down the field. He's going to look for his man, Hudson Rue. It's caught, and Hudson Rue is a touchdown. Hudson Rue bobbles the ball into his own hands. That'll be a 52-yard touchdown for Rue. And the senior, who is just about to become the place kicker, makes it 13-0 as the Panthers looking to spoil the senior night and spoil the tailgate.
And that's just absolutely amazing by Collum, just to realize that, yeah, it's a free play off of the offsides, off of the jump. And that's what they got. They got it free play, threw it downfield, and it's an amazing catch by Hudson to put the Pitman Panthers up by 14.
That muddle huddle now working from the right side. By the way, Cherry Hills leads Bridgeton 7-0 early in the first quarter. Here we go. Rue, who just scored from 52 yards, kicks the extra point. He's 2 for 2. He's going to need an oxygen tank after that as he runs for days and then kicks for days. We're 5:57 left to play in the first quarter. Gateway needs to turn on the Jets here versus the Panthers. It is 14-0. Pitman leads 14-0 midway through the first quarter. That's another liner from Hudson Rue. It's picked up by that's Bink. He had a kickoff return touchdown versus Cumberland last year.
Tripped up by Tibbs on the play. Penalty markers down near midfield.
We did have penalty markers fly in. It is against Gateway. Didn't see the penalty, whether it was an illegal block or not. It is. Blocking back.
Blocking back.
With great kickoff returns comes great block in the back penalties. Seems to happen almost every time, but that actually, honestly, because they're at their own 39, that honestly could be a lot worse.
And penalties has kind of been the name of the game so far. as we just saw the jump off sides that led to that second touchdown. The first touchdown, also another penalty that resulted. And then also the first drive for the Gateway Gators was a penalty that kind of brought them back another 5 yards that put them at 3rd and long. So, again, the penalties have been bad for the Gateway Gators so far.
Barbato over the middle. Welsh was on the tackle for Pitman. That brings up 2nd and 5. So Barbato now 2 yards away from reaching 700 this season. He entered this game with 693. That gain, actually, no, that was a gain of 6, so he's at 699. Just needs one more for him to cross. Barbato, the junior. Diving through the middle. Not sure who had that one. That was... Trying to see. Oh, Lamar Smith. Okay. Not a name we've seen a whole lot of this year, but that will bring up 3rd and short. You don't get much closer than this. First down marker is maybe a foot away. That's going to break through, and for the first time tonight, Gateway has picked up a first down. Still very early for Gateway, and you know, look, Andrew Daly's team is a very resilient team, where when they get down, they find ways, or at least they can find ways, to get back on the board. That's what Andrew Daly did in Cherry Hill East, and in his 2 years coaching there, and now I think he can find a way to do that for Gateway as well, because these guys are starting to pick up steam. They just have to continue with that steam for the rest of the night. 1st and 10 for Gateway in the I form. Oh, they just tried to barrel it through the middle. Did not get too far there. They're trying to separate some guys on top of the ball. Hold on here. Oh, the ball came out, looks like. Oh, and Pittman's got it back. I was wondering why they were trying to separate everybody from the ball, like it was maybe a skirmish going on or something, but no. The ball came out in the dead of night, and Pitman has just clinched their 3rd offensive drive. How about that? That's another gut punch for Gateway. In a game that already has not gone in the way that you thought it would, Pitman is showing that even though they've beaten teams that are maybe less desirable on the schedule, they have definitely shown that they are worthy of recognition. Here we go. Sending Rue in motion. Handoff to Tinges. And he gets hit out of bounds. That'll be a gain of 7.
Like we said pregame, Pitman has a lot of have to prove a lot just to try to get into the playoffs. They're only 4 spots behind. They get beat a team. They're on a 4-game win streak. They're trying to make it 5 to end the year off. They could just show that to the rankings, trying to make a push into the playoffs late here in the season. But they think they deserve it. They're going to go out there and play their game 14-0 up and another 3rd drive. They could go 3 for 3 on drives. I think that's just going to be able to show that they're a great team.
Well, look at the speed demon. It's Tyler Marone. He is still on his feet. There's finally whistles, but Pitman is inside the red zone. How about that? Pitman is red hot, and they have a chance to score 21 at the end of the 1st quarter. We've still got 3 minutes to play. I mean, these guys are just barreling through Gateway. I don't know what's up with these guys tonight, but feels like the Gators just aren't themselves. They shut out their last 2 opponents, Gloucester Catholic and Mastery Camden, and now things are taking a turn, not necessarily for the better for the Gators, as they set up 1st and 10 from inside the red zone at the 17. Tinges on the carry. He'll get sent down. That'll be a gain of 2 or 3. 2nd and 9. Passing away, it's incomplete. That is his first incompletion of the night, intended for Marone. Pressure by Golem Khan. What?
Galam Khan.
Oh, Galam. Okay. Gotcha. I apologize, Mr. Khan. But, yeah, I mean, that was something where the offensive line faced pressure right away and just didn't find a way to overcome it. QB was immediately put under pressure, had to dump off the pass to the next available guy. And it's 3rd and 9. For a guy like Rue in the place kicker spot, you are in field goal range, but what I like to say in high school, there's no such thing as a chip shot field goal. Doesn't exist. Dropping back, Column has time, throws over the middle. It is one-handed. And Tyler Marone scored again. Tyler Marone with a one-handed thriller on his right side. Picks up another Pitman score. He somehow hung on to that. And it's 20-zip, a chance to make it 21. Huh? That's my bad. PAT is good. And Pitman, for the 3rd time in as many drives, has found the end zone. They have been perfect tonight on the offensive barrage, and they continue to pour it on. It's 21-0, 2 minutes left in the first quarter. We'll be right back.
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
Pitman getting ready to go. They've scored 3 touchdowns tonight, 2 from Marone, 1 from Hudson Root, brought it in from 52. They have had some spectacular catches tonight. Gateway keeps it in. Oh no, they lost the ball. No way did they just lose the kickoff return. They just did. The kickoff return is muffed, and Pitman is a runaway train. They have picked up the kickoff return and will start their 4th drive in the red zone. This is unbelievable.
Gateway's just been kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Can't really get anything going on offense or defense, and then on special teams has the fumble. And now they're just letting Pitman get away with this one, and this could be their 4th touchdown in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen a quarter this lopsided in a long time. Kingsway Clearview was like that earlier this year, where Kingsway put up 34 in the first quarter. We've got a flag. Tinges on the carry. He still is finding space. Finally is brought down, but let's see what this flag is about. We'll see who the penalty is against. They're walking this one back. It is a holding call against Pitman. That is their first penalty against them tonight. We were talking about Gateway having issues with penalties. Well, now Pitman gets a taste of the medicine. But Pitman, you know, they are such a small community, but look at this crowd tonight. You know, they didn't have to travel too far, but there is barely any empty seats in that visiting grandstand. I don't think I've seen a visiting grandstand that full in a long time. 1st and 20 after the hold. Column, kind of an awkward pass, but it's caught by Tingens. And it is taken down by Finger. So Finger and Bink on the tackle. They get 5 yards on it, still got time. They have a minute and 12 in the first. But that's the thing about Pitman, is that they are a very passionate community. You know, I spend a lot of my time in Pitman now that I'm in college, and you know, I was at Mama Marie's this morning, picked up a everything bagel, and a couple people noticed me on the street. And you know, these people love each other down there. Tinges cuts to the right, still on his feet. He is finally take it down, and they might have just converted on a 2nd and 15. They've got 30 seconds left. They've got time to run one more play if they choose. They're going to walk this down. We'll see where they put it. It's actually much shorter than I thought. It'll be 3rd and 6. We'll see if they choose to run a play. They're putting their guys in formation, so it looks like they will. And that's a jump. That was one of the more obvious jumps I've seen, and Gateway's been susceptible to them many times tonight. It'll be 3rd and 1 now. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and none. So that will end the first quarter, and Pitman has been on a roll. They have scored 3 touchdowns, including a 52-yard bomb to Hudson Rue, the senior wide receiver. It is 21-zip after 1 from Angelo Natoli Stadium. We'll be right back.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Here in the second quarter of Pitman Gateway. Pitman is up by 21, looking to make it 28. It's funny that we mentioned Harper Driving School because Hudson Rue, who caught that 52-yard touchdown, makes a cameo in the commercial that we air for Harper Driving School. We'll talk about them after this play, as it is 3rd and 1 from the 10-yard line. Here as we begin the second quarter on the other side of the field. Handoff. Tinges still on his feet, breaks away from a couple tacklers, and finally gets wrestled down. Well, no, they dropped the stick, so they must have called it 1st and goal. Yes, that's what they did. I apologize. I didn't realize they did that. So it is now 2nd and goal for Pitman from the 8-yard line.
2nd and goal from the 7.
As Pitman trying to find the end zone again. They've had 1 rushing TD, 2 passing TDs, and the Gators, after 1 play in the second quarter, call their first timeout. We'll stay on the air. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take the Harper driving test for their state license pass on their first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite E of the Total Turf Complex in Pitman, right off of Lambs Road. But yeah, we were talking about, you know, Pitman being such a small community, especially now that I live there. You know, there's not a place that is there's really not a place that's much better than Pitman in South Jersey. You know, this is why I like covering Group 1 football, is that sometimes, you know, when I see these Group 4 and 5 schools, or even the private schools, there's not a whole lot of, or I should say there's not as much There's not as big of a case of everybody knows everybody. In Pitman, everybody knows everybody. If you get into a fender bender in Pitman, there's a good chance that you know the person that you just hit. That's the way I say it. And if you want to avoid hitting people, you can always get your license at Harper Driving School, Suite E in Pitman, right off of Lambs Road. That's a good tie-in right there. Handoff to Tinges. Does not get too far. That'll be 3rd and goal. I mean, after the timeout here, Gateway looking to make a stop inside the 10. If they could hold them to 3 or preferably none in terms of scoring, that might be able to turn the gears in the heads a little bit here for Gateway and finally make them realize, hey, we gotta turn on the Jets here and get on the board. Find a way for Pembroke to break through. He's kind of watching this on the sideline right now with his helmet off, and I'm sure part of him's thinking, what do I got to do to get my team into the end zone? Collin with a low snap, dumps off the pass. It is a dive that is incomplete, and for the first time tonight, Pitman is faced with a 4th down. Hudson Rue is coming out, so I think they're going to try a field goal. This would be from 24 yards. The longest field goal attempt this year in a high school game was 56 yards by Shalix Hunter Dragata. It did not go. I saw both heads turn around in the booth. No, it did not go. However, Hudson Rue from 24, it's up away, and it is good. Hudson Rue, he makes the field goal, and it's 24-0 in favor of the Pitman Panthers. We'll take a quick break as they turn this one over with 10:34 left in quarter number 2. Pitman 24, Gateway 0. Here's Rue. Another low hanger. Picked up at the 15 by Bink. He cuts out to the right, no, to the left rather, and gets dropped by number 63. Actually, no, I'm sorry. What do we have there? Joey McCaw, okay. Didn't see that jersey number too well. Oh, there we go. I misread the 53 as a 63. Joey McCaw, and that's why we have the wonderful spotters up here in the booth at Angelo Natoli Stadium. It is a packed house tonight. The public address announcer, Mike DeChico, their spotter, the clock official up here, and then our 4-man crew for DWB, even if one person's just shadowing. We might be nearing the edge of the city ordinance for how many people we need in this press box, but you know what? We're having fun, and it's a 24-0 game, so we'll see what happens. Remember, the rule for this year for running clocks, if Pitman continues to have this incredible run, is that at the start of the second half, if a team is leading by 33 or more, the running clock begins and does not stop for the remainder of the game. Here comes the rush by Barbado. That puts him over 700 yards on the season. That'll be second down. The old rule for high school football was that if a team reached 24, the running clock would start, and then it could be stopped again if a team got back on the board. Like, for example, in the old, or I should say in last year's rule book, if Gateway scored here, the running clock would stop. But in this case, if a team reaches 33, the running clock stops and never resumes. So a team could be up 35-0, running clock starts, and then they could score 4 touchdowns, make it 35-28, and the running clock would still be in effect. It's 2nd and 6. Barbado is thrown down to the ground for a loss of 3. That'll make it 3rd and 9. Tackle made by by Nick Watson, the transfer from St. Augustine, who is also the starting shortstop for this Pitman baseball team. And that's the thing, you know, like I recognize a whole bunch of these players from Pitman basketball or Pitman baseball. You know, Ethan Kubat, younger brother of Kyle Kubat. You got Hudson Rue for Pitman baseball. Trey Tinges for the basketball team, the sectional champions from last year, first time since 1998, back when the Crispins were running the show down there. Dropping back, Pembroke makes the pass to the right side. He'll get thrown down. Finger makes the catch. Now this brings up 4th and like 4, maybe even 4th and 3. I think you go for it here.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Dan. I think you have to go for this, and it looks like they are gonna punt. But again, you're down by 3.
Yeah.
You're down by 3 scores now. Like you kind of
Like I feel like this is the perfect time to be a little gutsy. You know, I feel like with the momentum that they've had on this drive, it would have been nice for them, and they will not fake it. As that's going to be that'll be a roughing the punter call. Did they fall on the ball? No, Pitman picks it up. That's a chaotic play. Hudson Rue has the ball. He is out at the 45. It's not going to matter, though, as it's a roughing the punter call on DJ Bink. Personal foul. Yeah, I mean, I kept the camera on Bink for a couple seconds there because we knew that was going to happen. And that will be a big break for Gateway. So we'll see where they put this. There's a bit of confusion with the chains right now. You could see they're on the far sideline talking about something.
They were on the 36 before? They were on the 36?
I believe so. We can look back at the tape. Yeah, line of scrimmage was the 36. So I think they're trying to figure out where to spot this. Line of scrimmage was the 36 when Bink punted it. And you can see there the line of scrimmage from the it was like 4 yards behind. So now they're putting it at the 49. So the confusion has been lifted a little bit, but a big break for Gateway as Pitman runs into themselves on a roughing the punter call. That'll set up 1st and 10, and for the first time tonight, Gateway is across the 50. Aiden Barbado diving forward, tackled by Marone as he flies forward.
John, motion to stop. Second and 3 to the game.
Whistles flying here as Pitman calls their first timeout. We'll be right back after this as Pitman leads 24-zip, 7:50 remaining in the half. We're back here, Gateway across the 50 at the opposing 42. They were helping out somebody, Jared Liu, over there. So a few plays after a roughing the punter. That'll bring up 2nd and 3 after a 7-yard gain by Barbado. Pembroke, and now it's back on. We missed it, but DJ Bink made a nice pass to the right side. Gateway's at 1st and goal for the first time tonight, looking to find the end zone for the first time if they do not turn the ball over. 1st and goal. Barbado on the carry, cuts to the right. He finds some room. Trying to shed through some tacklers. He gains a couple yards there. And Gateway finally showing some resilience on this drive. Sam Adams.
I know we had 2 goals in there.
Oh, there's 2. I wasn't even making a joke about there being 2 Sam Adams. I was just going to say, like, you know, this is a high school game. You got to wait a couple of years. That's what I'm best at, dad jokes. And I turned 19 in 2 weeks, so I've got a long way to go. 2nd and goal here for the Gators. But Gateway finally starting to break through in this drive. Pembroke drops back to pass, pump fakes. It is caught by somebody. There's a whole host of folks down there. Anthony Egolf on the tackle. Dylan Cruitt, the tight end, makes the catch. Now that makes it 3rd and goal, but now the pressure's starting to get on Gateway here because they're still a few yards out from the end zone, and they have started to stall out even at the 10-yard line.
But you also know it's 4-down territory, so if you don't get it here, you have that 4th down. You're not kicking a field goal. You're going for the touchdown, down by 24. So you kind of can put yourself in a position where you can go out there, even run the ball at this time, and try to get some more yards so that on that 4th down try, you can get an easy path to the end zone.
Exactly. I think I would go with something different, but I would go with the same personnel. Somebody like Barbado or Bink, somebody who is experienced tonight. Third and goal. They pass. And Pitman just picked it off. Trey Tinges with the interception, and Gateway smells the touchdown, but it gets stripped away on a Trey Tinges pick. How about that? You know, yeah.
Tinges 12 touchdowns offensively, then he goes on the defensive end of the ball and gets that pick. He's been all over the field. He's on special teams as well. He's a three-way guy for this Pitman team, and now he just comes along the pick. And now Pitman, 4 minutes, 27 seconds left in this first half. They hope maybe can go down and score another touchdown before the clock hits 0.
If you're Gateway, I'm blitzing every play until they're out of safety range, because they're at their own looks like their own 5. I would say just try to rush that offensive line as much as possible. Try to force them out. I mean, remember earlier this year, Gateway was up, I think it was 28-0 at the half to Wildwood. And the final score was 42-20. So there can be a lot of sporadic scoring and, you know, and kind of impulsive scoring. But, you know, even though Pitman's only scored 3 points in this quarter, it certainly seems like the momentum is still all on their side. You know, Gateway had something going, and then as soon as they saw the light at the end of the tunnel, that light was an oncoming train. That brings up 2nd and 8. And I'm sure Andrew Daly's going to find a way to, you know, bring some life into these guys at halftime, because, look, Gateway was a 2-win team last year. They've improved to 4-4. Of course, the divisional realignments help with that. But now that it appears the Gateway is probably, you know, not in a playoff position, this gives even better hope for Pitman, who has to, you know, leapfrog Kip and Highland Park to get into that position where they are at right now and they also have to leapfrog Pensgrove as well, being in the 19th spot. The 2 teams ahead of them that are also out are Kip and Highland, Kip and Highland Park, and then in the 16th spot is 1-7 Pensgrove. That's the thing. Pitman is a 5-1 team, and a team that's 1-7 is ahead of them. And I'm sure if you're Chris Thomas, Grant Shivers, or whoever's over there over at Pitman, you're not too happy about that. Over the middle. The rush on 3rd and short. Believe that's enough for a first down. It instead will be 4th and short. But every new chance is a new opportunity for Gateway to turn the tides a little bit. You know, for a chance for them to finally make some progress. You've dug yourselves this hole, but you have the shovels in your hand. And you have a way to either dig the hole deeper or find a way to get out. And it's not easy for these guys right now, especially on your homecoming night. You know, you want to be able to play well for these fans. Looks like Pitman's going to keep the offense on the field, I thought. But Bink is way back there as if it were a punt return, so... And Chris Thomas calls his timeout, his second of the night. 1:48 left in the second half. Pitman is up 24-0 here in quarter number 2. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Angelo Natoli Stadium, a.k.a. The Nat. It's been the home of the Gators since 1968. Dedicated to Mr. Natoli in 2015. Member of the Gateway Board of Education for over 40 years. Also served on several different boards of education throughout the season. This will be a punt for the Panthers. This has some height to it. Bink will be back to return, but he instead backtracks. The back spin brings this ball to the 42. And that's where Gateway will take over here with 1:36 remaining in the first half. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, a.k.a. Dog Wrestling. Dog Wrestling is the top professional wrestling organization in South Jersey with high-flying action and off-the-wall excitement throughout the entire year in local locations throughout the state. For information and more on how to watch, how to attend, and how to participate in Dog Pro Wrestling, visit dogprowrestling.com, DAWG prowrestling.com. First and 10. Gators take over after a late interception in the red zone by Trey Tinges. They now are backed up to the 42, sending Pruitt in motion. Dropping back, now has to dump it off, and he's got some room. It's gonna be Aiden Barbado, who is inside the red zone, and he gets thrown to the ground. And Barbado is able to bring some life back into this crowd. 36 yards.
And if you're Gateway, that's exactly kind of what you want. Now you're going in 1:27 left in this second half, and in this first half. And now you can go down and try to get some points on the board before you go back and at halftime to try to hopefully stem something coming back into this game. Because you're still down by two touchdowns, 2 possessions if you get a score here. So it's still a lot of game left to play where you could definitely come back in a game. Like
there certainly is a lot of time, but time is of the essence. Lamar Smith on the carry. Welsh on the stop. Man, Pitman, they are livid on the sideline there with somebody. Did the ball come out? Yes, the ball came out. Pitman has it. Tinges has it. He is getting tugged at the jersey, and he is down at the 25. Gateway has just not had anything going their way.
A little bit of pushing on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit of pushing after the play. Trying to settle things here. And Pitman's coaches, I mean, you have to be really upset for the opposing coaches to be heard in the other press box, maybe 500 feet away. And there are several flags down. Yeah, there's at least 3 flags down. So, okay.
I think I saw a hat.
Okay, so we saw a hat, we saw everything. I mean, there's more laundry on the field than a college room communal space, but I mean, seriously, the hats and the flags, and we're going to have to see. I'd imagine that considering how many were thrown, yeah, we have an official's hat, 2 yellow flags, a pink flag, and a partridge in a pear tree. Let's see what's going on here. All right, personal foul, face mask against the Gators, and a personal foul against Pitman. So I'd imagine that personal foul against Pitman was probably after the play because the official tossed his cap. So those will be offsetting penalties, I believe. Dead ball foul. Yeah, so they had to sort some stuff out. There were officials talking to both Chris Thomas and Andrew Daly, trying to explain the situation. And obviously now, Pitman picking up a fumble recovery again by Tinges, who has done basically everything tonight. Oh, wow, yeah, just looking at the tape, I didn't see that. I was kind of glancing at where the ball was. There was a Pitman lineman who just shoved another Gateway lineman straight in the back. And that's what the dead ball foul was for. So I'm sure if you were watching adamantly on the tape, you saw that a lot clearer than I did. So now they're at their own 25 after back-to-back personal fouls.
Stop being by the Kings Alley.
Gain of about 5. 20 seconds remaining in the half. Pitman will get in their formation, and they take a knee. So, a little bit of shoving there at the end of the half. So, Dane Collum takes a knee, and at the end of the first half, Gateway has just not had the right night. They are down 24-0 at the half with a nice ovation from the Pitman faithful on the visiting side. We will be right back with our halftime break, and in about 15 minutes, we've got our Harper Driving School halftime show and much more here on DWB. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
One nothing Red Bank. Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series when he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction. He said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson Fairhaven in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0. Excuse me, Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg answers on opening day with a first pitch rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0.
Launches one foul. See, Mostero's doing us a service here. Or excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2. Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer! D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat. 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders. Cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches and makes late switch for the visitors. Again inside their 5.
Oh, they're going to pitch this one back for the flea flicker. Touchdown, West. Oh, my goodness. Taking inspiration from Nick Foles and Trey Burton. I think they just pulled off the Philly special. That is the greatest touchdown I have ever seen. Well, maybe not the greatest touchdown I've ever seen. Maybe that's stretching a little bit, but one of the greatest touchdowns we've seen in a long time. And it's a tie game. One nothing Red Bank. 2 minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. One more and it's a bonus, which would greatly help Gloucester Catholic. The moving graveyard! It's a 1-point game just like that! This place is going nuts! And now a drive to the basket by Spross. He lays it up and lays it in! St. Joe's has 2 timeouts remaining. Gloucester Catholic still has 3. Here we go. Mascaro pulls up. He goes to 3! 6 points! Jack Mascaro has tied the game with 90 seconds remaining. How will the Wildcats respond with a miss of
We're back here from Angelo Natoli High School. I'm sorry, Angelo Natoli Stadium. That would be a fun name, though. We do have Arthur P. Shalleck High School in the area, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched. We're here at Gateway Regional High School at the Angelo Natoli Stadium as we'll let the coaches pass behind us. It is 24-0 Gateway. Pittman is on a roll tonight. You know, they scored 21 points in the first quarter. Hudson Rue, 52-yard touchdown on a bobbled catch. They have just had everything go right for them, and Gateway has had everything, unfortunately, go wrong. They just haven't seemed to find a momentum at the right time. But we've seen a lot tonight from these guys, and Pittman is showing that they are worth being paid attention to this season.
Yeah, 4-game winning streak. They're coming in, and now they're trying to prove that they are a good team. They can make the playoffs. And again, coming out 21 points in the first quarter, like you said, is absolutely absurd. And now Gateway are trying to find a way back into this game, and they keep getting into the red zone. They're trying to get a score, and unfortunately, just a pick, and then also the penalties have been kind of been the deciding factor on if Gateway scores or not. So again, Gateway still are finding the momentum to get into the red zone. They just cannot finish the job. And again, Pittman going to keep on trying to keep this level, keep this game ahead, and try to coast this one out and try to get the win and prove that they definitely should be in a playoff spot.
And that's the thing. Pittman needs 9 more points to start the running clock. And honestly, I think that's well within reach. They've got the fans behind them. They've got everybody behind them. They've got Trey Tinges behind them. He's scored a handful of touchdowns, and he's picked up not only a fumble recovery, but an interception. He has done everything. Special teams, offense, defense. He is the epitome of a Group 1 player, and he is somebody that a lot of people should be paying attention to because he is not I believe he's a senior this year, but he's got a lot under his belt this year. Like we said, he's up at over 500 rushing yards this season, and he has certainly expanded on that number tonight. So I'm excited to see what Tinges can do, and if I'm Pittman, the offense revolves around him from here on out. Especially
just to run out the clock. If they do get up to that 33 points and it's a rolling clock, all you really got to do is run this ball, run the clock out, and Tinges is your guy. Just hand it to him, and he's been able to break multiple tackles, especially in the open field. When you're one-on-one with him, he gets away, he breaks out of it, and then another guy comes, breaks out of that one, and eventually gets 10 yards on you out of nowhere. He's been that kind of playmaker for Pittman, and he's been absolutely amazing so far in this game all season. And again, if it comes down to it, like you said, Dan, that's the guy you should look out at, and that's the guy that you should be keeping the ball to.
Exactly. Not that Tyler Marone has been hasn't done much either. I mean, Tyler Marone has been there. He's been there and done that. He's been the second-hand man to Trey Tinges, but it's going to be a fun night as Pittman's going to get ready to kick this one off. We are going to turn the camera the other way as we rejoin you from Angelo Natoli Stadium. It is a packed press box here.
Reset. Timeout's reset.
As we are ready to go, the place kicker and former soccer player, 3-sport athlete for the Pitman Panthers, Hudson Rue, gets ready to send this one away. And away we go. That one takes a couple of hops, picked up by Bink in the back. He finds some space, still on his feet, spins to the 45. He is still on his feet, but now in the opposite direction, gets thrown down at the 35. And that is where the Gators will start this drive. As trying to find a little bit of space, they end up losing yards. Certainly could have been better field position. And actually, they get the benefit of the doubt on forward progress. They will start the ball at their own 40. Don't forget, tomorrow in the afternoon at noon, we travel down for the Battle of Exit 2. It's the Salem Rams and the Pennsgrove Red Devils. Pennsgrove with a win would certainly kind of squash Pittman's playoff hopes as they're at 1-7. Salem is at 0-8, but it's a personal pride game for both of these teams, but it does matter for Pennsgrove as they are teetering on the edge of the 16 seed in South Jersey Group 1. They would play the 1 seed Glassboro with a win. We'll send you updates of that Glassboro-Woodstown game as that would also decide the number 1 seed in South Jersey Group 1. This one's being rolled out to the left side for Finger. He is immediately wrapped up, and Rue picks up the ball, but the whistles fly in beforehand. So that is going to be a loss of 9. And
loss of 9 yards.
I believe there's a penalty on Gateway as well. It's an illegal shift. Penalties declined. So an illegal shift in addition to the 9-yard. So 9-yard loss in addition to the illegal shift penalty with the penalty declined. Brings up 2nd and 19. So I guess the illegal shift didn't matter too much if it was a loss of 9. If you're just joining us, Pitman, it's been all Pitman all night. In their 18th Dan Wilkins Broadcasting appearance, they are 3rd all-time behind Audubon with a calm 139 and Gloucester with 25 in our history over at DWB. Dropping back, Pembroke passes incomplete, intended for Marius Hunter Trujillo. And I was going to say MTJ, that's not the right thing there. Thinking of the wrong sport. MHT, there we go. Thinking of a little better way to say that, but either way. 3rd and 19, long way to go for the Gators. If Pitman tacks on 9 more points for the running clock to be enacted, it will be the 3rd game this year out of 22 to reach the running clock status. The others being Audubon-Pennsville, that ended in a 46-0 final. And Rumson-Fairhaven and Manchester Township, that ended 42-7. This is incomplete. Again intended for Finger. And some heavy coverage in the Pitman secondary there sets up 4th and very long. But I liked Pitman's coverage there. They saw that that was going to be a pass all the way on 3rd and 19. And not really any other options for Gateway. They set up in pass defense and they read it very well.
Yeah, and again, that's a great stop if you're Pitman. Now, your Gateway kind of got backed in their own end. Now, Pitman coming back out. And now have a good kind of position where if this punt doesn't go too far, they could maybe even return it.
The punt does not go far at all. And I don't know if it got tipped or what, but it goes to the 40 and across the 50-yard line. And the bad breaks just keep on hitting Gateway. I mean, it's like a boxer in the ring just keeps getting punched, but keeps getting back up. And Pitman leads 24-0, 11:04 left in the 3rd. You're watching coverage of the West Jersey Football League on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about tonight's broadcast, you can drop us a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email is also available along with all of our social media platforms in the description of this video. Rolling out to the left side for Dane Collum, we've got a flag. Collum on a QB keeper gets hit out of bounds, and we've got another late hit as Collum hit the track as he was getting out of bounds. We've got a 3rd flag coming in. That was well after the 2nd flag, which was well after the 1st flag. So I think we might have some dead ball fouls here. They're sorting this out as Collum was hit late out of bounds and actually ended up rolling partially onto the track that surrounds this stadium. We've seen it before where the boundaries of where a field ends up getting some guys banged up. But all of the referees on the field, except for one, are discussing this. As, like I said, I saw 3 different penalty markers come in at 3 different intervals. So this could be 2 fouls of the same variety, or it could be 3 entirely separate fouls that they now have to decipher and sort out here early in the 3rd quarter. But I would imagine at least one of them is a dead ball foul, just based off of what we saw on the far sideline for Gateway coming in and hitting the quarterback Collum. All right, here we go. Personal foul on Gateway. On sportsmanlike conduct on Pitman, and that is just 2 fouls. So I'm not sure what the first foul was, because there was a foul that was as the play was coming on before there was even a chance for there to be a dead ball foul.
And the flag is still on the field.
Yeah,
right,
it's,
right on the near side. So I don't know if they're talking about that one or not, but
I honestly don't know, but I thought maybe, I don't know, that's weird, but
Other than that, more likely had two officials same penalty.
okay. Yeah, so that's what it was. The thing that threw us off was that the third flag came in maybe 3 or 4 seconds after the second one. So 2 officials called the same thing. It's an unsportsmanlike and a personal foul that offset. And it's 1st and 10 from 25. This is going to be a pass from Hudson Rue. And coverage in the end zone. I think Gateway's got it. It is intercepted by Aiden Barbado. Jacob Finger.
Touchback.
Gateway gives Pitman a taste of their own medicine with an interception in the end zone. That is the 3rd interception of the game. And the first to benefit the Gators. And they will take over with a touchback. They'll start at their own 20.
and Pitman tried to run some trickery there, but again, Gateway kind of saw it and they got it in the end zone, got it back on their own 25. It's kind of a change of tides here, finally for Gateway, and now hopefully they can get some offense going and get some scores on the board.
From 1st and 10, here comes a rush to the left side, getting pulled, getting hit. And the last thing you don't want this game to get any chippier than it already is. We've seen a handful of unsportsmanlike calls and personal fouls, but these are 2 teams that have a lot of respect on the football field. There's not a lot of altercations that go on in the Pitman world. The same thing with the Gators. By the way, a little DWB history there. That is the first wide receiver to throw an interception on a DWB live stream in our football coverage history. And we've got more flags. Very late flags coming in. It is a penalty palooza here on this Friday night. Yeah, that's helmet to helmet contact right there. That was called. So that will be on Pitman, and they will walk this ball forward. See, the thing is, Gateway's had some drives that have been benefited by penalties that they just haven't been able to score on. Glassboro's up by multiple scores in their Diamond Division Championship game against Woodstown. They are up 20-7 at the start of the 4th quarter. Barbado on the carry. He gets dropped. Got tripped up there behind the line of scrimmage, and it'll be 2nd and long. By the way, we've got a big upset. St. Augustine 27, Millville 21. However, in that game, Millville's Lotsier Brooks, Alabama commit, picked up 4,214 receiving yards, more than any player ever in New Jersey State history, and South Jersey has a new receiving champion that's headed to Tuscaloosa next year. So kind of a win and a loss for Millville. That's over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bink. Double coverage there from Tinges and Rue. I'm sorry, from I think that's number 13, Nick Watson, and Hudson Rue, who has been on the field for almost every play tonight. And a final from one of the DWB fan vote options that did not win. Eastern beat Highland 42-6. Eastern improving to, I believe it's 4-4 on the campaign. Highland falling to 1-7. Rancocas Valley leads Lenape 28-7 in the 4th quarter. It's 3rd and 12. Pembroke drops back. He has some room. He has some time. He lets it fly. It is incomplete. Intended, but broken up by Jack Welsh. Finger was the intended receiver. He had some space, but Pitman closed that gap really quickly, and now it's 4th down and long.
And Finger beat the man, got past the man, and that was just an amazing play by Walsh to kind of get that deflected down. And now it sets up 4th and long for the Gators. And I'm going to guess they're going to go for this. If not, they're actually going to punt it.
They're going to punt?
I'm kind of surprised by that. You're right around your 50. You wouldn't give Pitman that great of
I just feel like they can connect a couple times here. We've got flags.
Flag on the line.
Looks like they're going for maybe an illegal substitution there. Look at Andrew Daly. Andrew Daly's not happy with the official. The former head coach at Cherry Hill East, who was also a guest on our podcast, the Dan Wilkins Show. After the game, you should watch that interview. That is one of the most fun interviews I've ever had. He talks about his time being a quarterback in Germany. And we are going to have a fake punt. DJ Bink with a pass that's short. It is intercepted, but we have a flag. It was intercepted by Anthony Egolf, number 2. And what did we say there?
Like DPI.
We're going to have DPI on a fake punt. That will be another first. I don't think I've seen...
17, but close to 2.
Let's see here.
County's passing.
It is defensive pass interference. So they were on 4th and 17. It is an automatic 15-yard penalty, but unlike the NFL, it is not an automatic first down. So now it's 4th and 2, and the fake punt results in a play that's going to be short. So Gateway did all of that, and they're about a yard short. First down marker was at the 44, and they did not reach it. Pitman picks up another turnover. One of the Gateway players was slow to get up there. However, Pitman keeps the Gators scoreless even after a fake punt pass that was incomplete but called for defensive pass interference. After all of that, it's a Pitman ball. And they are having a good time right now here in the third quarter. They're up 24-0. However, they have not scored a touchdown since the first quarter. So Gateway is slowly building those blocks to make a stop, but it's not nearly enough. Fake and a handoff to Moreau. Second down. We've got more flags. Was this after the play as well, or? It's unsportsmanlike on Pitman. Wow. I mean, these guys just can't stop getting in their own way, and yet they're up by 24.
And now Gateway are kind of getting saved by, which we saw in the first half, is that the penalties kind of killed Gateway's momentum, and now it's starting to kill Pitman's momentum, and now Gateway could hopefully stem some defensive possessions where you can get the ball back, and hopefully he stems some offensive momentum to get support from the board as well.
It is a final from Glassboro. Glassboro has won 20-7 and will clinch the number 1 seed in South Jersey Group 1. It is 2nd and 24. They are way back there. First down marker is all the way across at the opposing 45. Camden converted on a 3rd and 30 earlier this year. We've got another flag. Big hit in the back. The ball comes out. Pitman scrambles to stay on top of it. The hit by number 19, Jackson Bailey on the hit. Penalty's going to be on Pitman. I didn't catch the ref's signal. It was very quick. It's a holding call, as if this drive couldn't get any more convoluted for Pitman. While they walk these guys back, we'll bring up another couple out-of-town scoreboards. Cherry Hill East leads Bridgeton 28-0 at the half. They are 24 minutes away from a division title. ACIT and Egg Harbor Township. Egg Harbor Township won that game 28-7. Middle Township shut out St. Joe's Hamilton, which has played their last game of the season. Their rivalry game versus Holy Spirit, which was scheduled for the first week of November, has been canceled. Out to the right side, that one is dropped, and it will be 4th and long. Another game that was canceled tonight was Camden Catholic and Audubon. Audubon was my alma mater. That game was canceled for a slew of reasons that I cannot repeat on the broadcast. However, Camden Catholic will accept a forfeit and will end the regular season undefeated at 8-0. Rue rolls it out to the right, but punts. It's a short punt. It will continue to roll. They're telling Bink to back off of it. You can see the assistant coach there was just like, don't pick it up, don't pick it up. And the Gators will take over with 7 minutes in the third quarter. 24-0 from their own 31. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and more. Visit 7 days a week at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon. And also, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting is a independently owned business in South Jersey. I'm a 18-year-old college freshman at Rowan College of South Jersey. Any contributions are appreciated, as we are not being paid for most of our games that we do in South Jersey, this one included. You can send us any contributions to our Venmo at DW Broadcasting. Of course, it's not required, but it is greatly appreciated, as everything goes towards either college funds, travel expenses, or equipment upgrades that we are trying to make throughout these next couple of months here at DWB. But your support, monetary or not, is always appreciated. Bink on the carry. He is still on his feet. Wow! I mean, they put him in a spin cycle there, like he was on a merry-go-round, and that will bring up second down, as that was a vicious pull from the Pitman defensive line. By the way, Shalleck has taken a 13-10 lead. I'm sorry, that was a little outdated. It is 20-16 Shalleck over Woodbury at the end of the third. Bink is going to pass. His 9th pass attempt of the year is a little too long, and it's incomplete. Intended, I believe, for Barbado. That'll be 3rd down and 12 as Bink, who is now 4 for 9 on passing attempts. By the way, West Effort leads Overbrook 29-6. Washington Township leads Timber Creek 14-0 at the end of the third. And early on in the fourth quarter, Mainland and Delsey are tied 7-7. Third and 12, and we have a quick timeout called by Pitman. One of the other one of the other fan vote options for today, Delran and Morristown. Delran took care of business against the Quakers 24-7. And honestly, we have kind of run out of scores here. I mean, there's so many games going on this Friday night. Just, it seems like the reporters are all kind of crammed into that one Glassboro game that's now over. So, you know, it's a little bit more difficult to find scores. And actually, we're just getting word. Washington Township added on a 28-yard field goal. It is 17-0 in the fourth quarter. So, Thomas, you know, as these guys are midway through the third quarter now, it creates an interesting situation for Gateway. They've had so many chances to score. They've had so many chances to get into the red zone and finally punch through, but they haven't done it. You know, what has gone wrong for them tonight?
It's kind of, I think the penalties have been kind of the key factor. They keep kind of pushing up. They keep getting 4th and short, second and short, 3rd and short, and then the penalties just keep getting tacked on. Then also, again, they keep trying to run the ball, and again, it's getting stopped. And now this forcing the 3rd and 12. The Pitman defense has been absolutely on fire ever since the beginning of the game. They've been kind of pushing this Gateway offense back into 3rd and longs and 4th and longs. They haven't really been going for it on 4th down either. I feel like now at this point in the game, you have to start going on it 4th down. Even if it's 4th and long, you still have to go for it.
This is a deep pass being wrestled to the ground as the pass was in the air. Finger was the intended receiver, and that'll bring up 4th and 12 as he went down. I mean, yeah, the penalties have been bad. I feel like Pitman has also had their fair share of penalties as well. They just haven't been hurt as much by it. I mean, they've been hit with unsportsmanlikes and personal fouls, and yet they don't seem to be fazed by it. However, they've only scored 3 points from the second quarter onward. The majority of their, if you take out the first quarter, this is only a 3-0 game we're talking about here. That is a short punt that will land at the 40, and it will stop at the 40. Dylan Pruitt picks it up. And we have a very late flag coming in. What is this all about? There's some commotion from every which way. This came in from the right side, and it's an unsportsmanlike on Gateway. Now Andrew Daly is coming out to discuss with the referees the situation. He's pointing to something on the Pitman sideline. But Daly has not been too happy in many facets of the game tonight. Whether it's the officiating or the performance of his own players, you can see he's still talking to the official there. But this is what I like about Coach Daly. He stands up for his players. When he sees something wrong, he will be the first guy to call it out. Pitman takes over after a punt. And I have not seen this many unsportsmanlike penalties in a long time, especially in a game that after tomorrow, if Pennsgrove wins, might not mean a whole lot. Column handoff. Tinges dives forward. He gets maybe 2 yards. Andrew Daly. Nope, never mind. I thought he was going to call a timeout. We've got a Gateway player down. So the Gateway athletic trainer is out, attending to one of their players there. He will get up under his own power, number 70, John Morris. He will walk off the field under his own power, and that'll be 2nd and 8. Actually, closer to 2nd and 9. After that rush by Tinges diving forward. Looked like it was going to be a loss, but finally broke into the line of scrimmage and got a yard out of it. Pitman with a win would improve to 6-1. I mean, this is one of the things that I mentioned in the pregame show, is that a team that's 6-1 is at risk of missing the playoffs, but a team that's 1-7 is right now on the inside, barely hanging on to a spot, but a team that's, about 18 minutes away from being 6-1 has to fight another day to make it in. That's what I don't get. That's over the middle. And another thing about this United Power ranking from South Jersey Group 1, Gateway is in the 23rd spot. It's pretty unlikely that they make the playoffs. But 2 spots ahead of them is Salem, and they are 0-8. I mean, what are we doing? And I say this as a football fan, and I say this as somebody who believes that programs that win should be benefiting. But we're in a situation where a team that's 0-8 is 2 spots higher than a team that's 4-4. I mean, that's just a joke. That is an absolute joke. Trey Tinges over the middle. And if you have a math system for playoffs where you have to dive somewhere deep into a cave and meet with a bridge troll to find out how these numbers are calculated, then your system is too complicated for it to be effective. Make it simple. You know, put in some variable like they have for PowerPoints in every other sport with point differential or something as a tiebreaker. Do something that makes it simple so that regular football fans can understand why a team that's 6-1 or will be 6-1 if they hang on has a chance of missing the playoffs versus a team that's 1-7, 2-4, and we have a team that's 3-4, 3 spots above a team that's 5-2, and 4 spots above a 6-2 team.
And I understand.
That's just at the state level. That is a fault at the state level, in my opinion.
And I understand like strength of schedule and everything, but again,
They weigh
like,
it too much.
They weigh it way too much. A 1-7 team, again, like you said, should not be ahead of a team that is going to be only have 1 loss in the season if they do, like you said, hold on.
And that was
Again,
a tough one to Gloucester Catholic in the non-public bracket, 21-20, and a team that's had some success themselves this year. Lining the pass over to the right, he finds plenty of room for Rue, who gets hit in the back by Bink. I'm sorry, by Leone, Danny Leone on the tackle. Because if Pitman misses the playoffs, even after the performance that they've had tonight, and they still miss the playoffs. I mean, they could have beaten Gloucester Catholic 21-20, but instead, a team that their only loss of the season was a 1-point loss, thanks to a missed extra point, they would miss the playoffs because of that. I just think that's a sham of a point system right there. Tinges on the carry. Because after tomorrow, this game could mean absolutely nothing, depending on how Salem-Pensgrove goes.
And if I'm Pittman, I'm like absolutely furious as well.
Exactly.
Because again, like like you said, one game where you missed the extra point, unfortunate. But that's one where you could be undefeated. And again, this team, Pittman has shown that they're a great team. Shown it here tonight. And to miss the playoffs, being 6-1, potentially, it's going to be insane to see that.
And obviously, if Pittman is, if Pittman was 7-0, well, then what does that make them? Because the 3 undefeated teams in South Jersey, Glassboro, Woodstown, no longer Woodstown, but Glassboro and Shore, they're at the 1, 2, and 3 spot. So what does that make Pittman? It's 2nd and 4. Handoff to Tinges. He dives forward, and he dives into the end zone, and it is going to be short. Short by a few yards. They're going to drop the sticks at 1st and goal. And Pittman running a very fast formation, trying to find a way, and Tinges fakes his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittman. They are back in front. I should say they extend their lead. And for the first time since the first quarter, they are in the end zone. It is 30-0. Pittman has not gone for 2 all night. They're not even going for the muddle huddle here. They're just going straight up. Rue on the kick. Tinges to hold. It's up away, and it is good. Hudson Rue has made every PAT tonight, and it shows in the score as it's Pitman 31, Gateway 0. We'll be right back. 2:16 left in the third. Through out to the left, and this will stay in bounds. I'm surprised he picked it up. He finds some space to the 40. Bink gets dropped hard at around the 43. And that's where the Gators will take over. Delsey and Mainland are headed to overtime, tied 14-14. And Riverside fell to Lawrence tonight, 21-14. Bridgeton is on the board versus Cherry Hill East in the third quarter. It's late in the third quarter, and it's 28-7. There is some drama up in North Jersey. Del Barton is leading DePaul Catholic 51-45 in overtime. That's a fun game up there. Varsity Aces has the broadcast of that one. That's a rush up the middle. Does not get too far. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. So if you're just joining us, or maybe flipping back and forth between the World Series and this, Pitman added on a touchdown. A fake by Trey Tinges to find the end zone. His third touchdown of the night. Pembroke over the middle, to the right side actually. The ball comes out, but I believe they're going to rule it incomplete, and they do. Minute 18 remaining. So this is something that will be rolling out as we go along. However, the week after Thanksgiving, on Thursday, December 5th, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting will be hosting our annual basketball showcase event, just like we did for football earlier this year, where we will be announcing the high school basketball schedule that we will be covering for this 2024 to 25 season. And we've got some new faces that are interested in having basketball game covered. Pembroke is in trouble. Certainly no new faces on that defensive line. They break through. Pembroke stays on his feet, but it counts as a sack, and that'll bring up 4th and long. And I think the confidence that Gateway will score at some point is dwindling by every play. And it's unfortunate because Gateway puts their hearts out every week, you know, to put together a good show. And look, they shut out their opponents 16-0 and 33-0 the last 2 weeks. And now the tables have turned, and this has been certainly an unfavorable game for Gateway and their playoff resume. Like we said, they've already scheduled what would be a crossover game if Gateway misses the playoffs, which would be this upcoming Saturday, the 2nd of September, against Collingswood. Pruitt is trying to use the power of magic to roll the ball out. He does not. And Panthers take over at the 33. We're up here in the booth at Angelo Natoli High School. I'm Dan Wilkins, our color commentator, Thomas Gaffney, my producer, Ryan Sieber, and of course, shadowing us for the game, Billy McCauley. Great crew here at Gateway. They put on an excellent pregame show that I was honored to be a part of and give my score prediction, which has now soured a little bit. But everybody in the booth for that pregame show had their predictions spoiled a little bit. We've got 22 seconds left in the third. Column handoff to Tinges. He breaks free. He will dive forward for a first down, finally getting taken down at the 47. Pruitt on the tackle. And the clock stops at 15 seconds as they'll move to change for a Pitman first down, but that still looks like that's the end. That will be the end of the third quarter as they will roll the clock. And they'll just putz around until that clock hits 0. So at the end of the third quarter, Pitman adds on their first score since early on in the second, and they keep that shutout alive and well. It's Pitman 31, Gateway 0, They are 2 points away from the rolling clock being put into effect here in the fourth quarter. We'll be right back. First and 10. Here comes a big breakaway. That's going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Pitman, and that will start the rolling clock. That was a touchdown by number 3, Tyler Marone, from 53 yards out. And just the second play of the drive for the Panthers puts that clock into a spin after this PAT. It's 37-0. Man, not much you can say there. He just found a gap and he got it. Rue has not missed a PAT tonight.
Can't do a man like that. Give him the commentator's curse. You can't.
Oh my gosh. Tim, I'm sorry. Please do not revoke your sponsorship of Harper Driving School. It's 37-0. We'll be right back after this. As we went to break, there was a penalty flag that was thrown. I don't know if I saw it as the PAT was coming out, but we do have a flag. Sounds like the penalty's on Gateway. It is unsportsmanlike on Gateway. Yeah, I didn't see anything there, but somebody, whether it was a player or somebody else, said one of the magic words. That's how I like to call it. Again, the unsportsmanlike calls, they have been hitting them like wildfire tonight. I don't even know who the penalty was on, but I mean, I know it was on Gateway, but I'm saying specifically. There you go. Some more final scores coming in as now this is a first that we haven't seen in a long time. Pitman will kick off from the enemy 45. Here we go. This is going to go back into the end zone. Yeah, can't run that one out. That'll be a touchback. And Gateway will take over at the 20. Let's rip off some quick scores. RV 42, Lenape 14 is the final. Washington Township beat Timber Creek 17-zip. Eastern beat Highland 42-6. I already mentioned that. Egg Harbor Township 42, ACIT 13. As we mentioned earlier, Glassboro 20. They remain undefeated. Woodstown takes their first loss of the year, 20-7. Cedar Creek beat Ocean City in a defensive gauntlet, 7-0. Triton beat Deptford to keep on their winning ways, 7-6. Middle Township beat St. Joe's 17-0. Sterling beat Haddon Township 34-6. And Shellick beat Woodbury 27-16. And that North Jersey game we were talking about, A 2-point conversion fell short. The final score is Del Barton 52, DePaul 51 in overtime. We try to cover a little bit of everything around here in our out-of-town scoreboard recap. It is a Friday night, so all of the reporters are basically everywhere. As here comes Barbado. He will take himself out of the sideline. You could see there, I like what Gateway was doing there. You know, they're always backing up their teammates, even in a situation like this where the clock is running. You could see getting a hand on him there was my favorite player to mention on this Gateway team, Mick Dudley St. Louis. He was giving him a little hand there as Barbado went out of bounds.
So, Brandon, for their table underneath the stands, and I think someone was walking underneath the stands, probably didn't win. Yeah.
Barbado again takes the handoff. He is behind the line of scrimmage, gets hit hard, and that will take him down.
I'm just going to fall underneath the stands. I'm going to need to know where this affiliated rep. Ooh.
Be 2nd and 13 for the Gators, as now the running clock still chugging along, under 10 minutes left in regulation. As we said, our next in-person broadcast will be tomorrow at 12 between Salem and Pennsgrove. Later tonight, if you can't sleep and you want to watch some esports, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting brings you esports coverage of Michigan International Speedway and Race 1 in the Eastern Stock Car Championship Series. Live stream starts at 11:45 tonight, so we will be around late. I'll be on the call with Dakota Vega over in New Haven, Connecticut. He joins us virtually, and we'll bring you the same coverage that we have for our other auto racing series this year, Simulated Competitive Online Racing Experience, which is the one that I own. So, again, big thanks to Kez and Connor Spradling down there in Florida for having us out there, bringing us out to a wider audience. But yeah, if you're up late tonight, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting will be up late with you with esports coverage there from Michigan. Broadcast starts at 11:45 Eastern tonight. Have to set our alarms early for Salem and Pennsgrove tomorrow. Lamar Smith, he will get dropped. That was a first down for Gateway. That'll be 2nd and 8. This broadcast is brought to you by Vincent's Lawn Care. Fall is here to stay, but that doesn't mean it's too early or too late to get your landscaping taken care of. Call 609-413-0403 for a quote. And if you are a small business owner interested in advertising with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, you can send us an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. All commercials you see on this broadcast are filmed, edited, recorded, and produced by myself and my wonderful crew. All of the funds for broadcast commercial advertisement goes towards college funds, equipment expenses, and travel costs for a game like Pennsgrove, where we're going 30 minutes down the road, a little bit out of our comfort zone. However, all of South Jersey is our comfort zone. Barbado gets again spun to the ground by number 65, Ethan Kubat, the younger brother of former quarterback Kyle Kubat, another multi-sport athlete for the Pitman Panthers. And Gators are now back to where they started, 3rd and 10 from the 41. But I haven't seen this many unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in a long time. And here's the thing. In a game that usually has a lot of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, it's usually very visible. And it's usually something where somebody's shoving somebody. That only happened once. You'd feel that this game would be more chippy, but it's not. It's just been somebody says the wrong thing at the wrong time and gets called for it. That's going to be a first down, and he steps out. Number 19, Jackson Bailey, steps out at the 40. That'll be enough for a Gateway first down. By the way, a Colonial Conference friend is in the crowd tonight. There's Caden Harris over there in the first row. He's a football player himself for Gloucester. He's made some appearances this year on DWB. But he's all by himself out there. I mean, he's just enjoying the game. I mean, it's a Friday night. You know how many things a high school senior could be doing on a Friday night, but instead he's out here in the middle of a game with 6 minutes left. I mean, this guy's a football player. He is a good football player. And with Gloucester being off this week, I mean, huge props to him. You know, he's having a good time out there. A lot of people that I see, sometimes, some of the student section has already left, but he stayed. And that shows how passionate he is and how passionate he is for Gloucester to win. And they're not even a Group 1 classified school. They're South Jersey Group 2. I mean, there's so many things a high school senior could be doing on a Friday night, and Caden Harris is just out there enjoying some football. Pitched back on 2nd and 14. Dropped is Barbado. Ooh, that might be intriguing. Well, we were just talking about Caden Harris. He just jumped up from his seat and ran to the snack stand over there. So I think we know what he's doing. He hopped up from his seat. He hops up from the pocket, and it's a little too long. Intended, but broken up by Jack Welsh. Intended for Marius Hunter Trujillo. That'll bring up 4th down. Honestly, if you're Gateway, I think you go for it here. Just, why not? It's the last game of the regular season. You don't have a Thanksgiving game anymore because of basically Thanksgiving games going out of style, unfortunately. They played Woodbury in the middle of October. We covered last year the last and final Woodbury Gateway Thanksgiving game. It's still a very pertinent rivalry game. However, it's been moved to the middle of the season in those crossover weeks. But, you know, we remember a couple of years ago, Bishop Eustace and Collingswood tried doing a new Thanksgiving game to try to push against the river current, but that failed last year, and Collingswood was left without a Thanksgiving game as well. Pembroke is wrestled in the shotgun and tried to break out of it, but he doesn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Pitman will take over at midfield with 4 minutes remaining in a 37-0 game. It's a second. Sure. Gateway would fall to 4-5 on the campaign. Pitman would improve to 6-1. Three minutes and 15 seconds and counting. Pitman can just run a couple of times and take care of business here. Oh, the ball is muffed, and it's picked up before the line of scrimmage. Pitman recovers with ease. You know, Thomas, I think it's time to start discussing a player of the game opportunity here. I mean, a guy who scored 3 touchdowns, has had an interception, and a fumble recovery. It's got to be Trey Tingus tonight.
It has to be. He's been all over the field. He's doing it offensively, doing it defensively, doing it on special teams. He was everywhere on the field, and he made his mark. 37-0. He's a guy who now Pitman could hopefully, potentially squeak into the playoffs, pending the Pembroke game tomorrow. I could definitely be a player to watch heading into that tournament.
2nd and 14 after a 4-yard loss on a fumble. Now he breaks free. He is way out there and gone. Touchdown Pitman on a 55-yard rush by number 15, Jack Welsh, who has put several defensive stands on the board. They find a gap in the Gateway defense, and they continue to run this one up. It's 43-0. With 2 minutes left in the game, too. Remember, the clock does stop for touchdowns. I'm not going to say anything before this root PAT, because I got in trouble last time. Pittman's going to call a timeout. I don't think they had enough guys on the field. Rue was pointing at the line of scrimmage like they didn't have somebody. We're going to take a quick break. 2:13 left in the fourth. It is Pitman 43, Gateway 0, PAT on the way. Pitman 43, Gateway 0, going for a PAT attempt. It is up, away, and this time the commentator's curse does not hit Hudson Rue, as it is 44-0. As Pitman will once again resume the running clock. We'll stay on the air. Like we said, our next broadcast will be later tonight for DWB After Dark, if you will, from the virtual banks of Brooklyn, Michigan, and the Michigan International Speedway in race 1 of 16 in the Eastern Stock Car Championship Series. I'll be on the lead. Dakota Vega will be on the color, and we're going to have a fun night after dark. I guess you could say this is also DWB After Dark, but anything after 6 p.m. is at this point in the year. Can't wait until basketball season when the sun sets at 4:30, and I don't know what time it is. And there were some times in my senior year of high school, I'd work out before my senior year classes, and I would get to the Planet Fitness when the sun was still down, and I'd leave when the sun was still down. But we're nearing that time of year. It's almost time for the holidays and Thanksgiving football on November 28th between Gloucester Catholic and Gloucester. So if you're not doing anything on that Thursday, that'll be fun. It'll be a little bit closer than last year, I think. '44th and away. Wait, go. Return, but it kind of flops at the 20. It's returned by number 14, Hunter Trujillo, who will get pushed out of bounds. And a late flag comes in. I think that's going to be on Tyler Marone. As he definitely looked like he kind of shoved him with authority out there. So we'll see where they spot this, because he returned it to about the 35. They're going to walk this all the way up to the opposing 45. A minute 46 left. It is 44-0 in favor of Pitman. It is the second largest margin of victory by any football team on DWB this season. Pennsville beat Audubon on September the 20th by a score of 46-0. That was a game that also had a running clock in the third quarter. But here's the thing. I mean, in this game, Gateway had expectations, and I think a lot of people thought that Gateway was going to play spoiler to Pitman, but here goes McDudley St. Louis on the carry.
Really change this game bunch.
I love saying McDudley St. Louis. It's amazing. It's a gain of 4 and a minute on the clock now. This is our second to last regular season game of the football campaign. The brackets will be released on October 27th, and when we have our playoff plans set, we will let everybody know on our social media pages on DW Broadcasting as he bobbles the snap but picks it up anyway. St. Louis on the carry. Still on his feet and out of bounds there. They'll probably have time for one more play before they line it up at the 50. They've got under 30 seconds left. Because we just got to put this in. 20 seconds left. Theoretically, they could just line up at the 50 and not go any further, and it looks like they will pull their players off the field. So Pitman with a win of authority, 44-0 over the Gateway Gators. They spoil the homecoming party. They spoil the senior night party. They spoiled everything, and they are proud of it. Pitman rumbles to 6-1 on the campaign, finding a way to win at every corner. They won on offense, they won on defense, they won on special teams, and honestly, they won on penalties too. What a night for Pitman, as now their playoff picture hangs in the balance until tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, they came into this game knowing they had to put on a show, and that's exactly what they did, 44-0, and now it kind of proves that they deserve to be in the playoffs. It proves that they need that push, and they got it, and they played their game tonight, and Trey Tingus, man, absolutely amazing, and now it kind of proved everything for a reason why they should be in the playoffs.
One of the things I look at with Pitman is their mutual opponents. They played Gloucester Catholic in their only loss of the season, a 21-20 loss, and then Gateway played Gloucester Catholic a few weeks down the road and won 16-0. So things were a little different for these two teams, and I honestly thought it was going to be a closer game, but it was not. And there's a lot of things that I think Gateway could have done differently. Part of that is the penalties. They just didn't seem to get anything going. But it's also partially the fact that Gateway was inside the 10-yard line twice. Yes, go Flyers. Maybe they can win more games this year. However, where was I before I got patted on the back there by that Pitman coach? Anyways, they were in the 10-yard line or better twice, and then got picked off and let up a fumble recovery. And the amount of turnovers that they had tonight, it was just infallible how many turnovers they had. And Gateway could have put 20 or more points on the board if they just didn't have those turnovers. And you can talk about the unsportsmanlike call penalties. You can talk about personal fouls that haunted both teams all night. But Pitman's got to be happy regardless, because this makes their playoff picture a little bit warmer. But again, it's not a guarantee, and it shouldn't be that way. They're a 6-1 team that now has to fight with a 1-7 team on Saturday to determine whether they get in. And no disrespect to Mark Macarone or Anwar Golden or anybody over there at Pensgrove, but I just think that the playoff system needs to be reworked a little bit. But you've heard me talk about that for a little bit too long tonight. Thomas, this has been a very intriguing game for Pitman. This is a statement win for the Panthers. Your thoughts on this final tonight?
I think it's just absolute dominance, like I've been saying. And again, they came in, proved what the team they are, team that they should be, the team that should be looked at as a playoff team. And that's exactly what they did. Came in, complete dominance from both sides, all three sides. Been absolutely amazing. Now for Gateway, come in and you could have came in and played spoiler against this Pitman team. Unfortunately, on your senior night, the start of homecoming, unfortunately, just can't get the job done. And now you have to go through this week. At least you have homecoming at the end of the week, so you have something to look forward to.
Exactly.
But again, Pitman comes in with complete dominance,
and you know what? Even if Gateway misses the playoffs, which they probably will after tonight, this is an improvement of a season. Andrew Daly is in his second year as a head coach after coming over from Cherry Hill East. He has been a little bit of everywhere. Like he was a quarterback in Germany. We joked about on the podcast that he's probably the only player to play in Division I, Division II, and Division III, and coach in Division I, Division II, and Division III. He's done it all. And he is a resilient head coach who does not let much get in his way. This was a fantastic night. One of the reasons why we chose this game after the fan vote was that it's a big game for both teams. Daly was talking to us, and he basically said this is the biggest game for Gateway in 5 years. They had the end zone tailgate. There were some great pizza, some wings that definitely could have used more hot sauce. But other than that, no complaints there. And it was a fun night all around. And Gateway is even if they won, I don't know if they would have made the playoffs, and that's why that game versus Collingswood was scheduled for next week in that event. So now they can look towards the future. They have a handful of seniors on this team, but they've also got a handful of youngsters. I'm excited to see what Gianni Pemgrove can do because I see potential in there, but he needs to find some more space out of the shotgun. He needs to be able to scramble a little more because in a case like that, when the offensive line doesn't help you, he's just left for dead. He's a sitting duck, and there wasn't a lot that he could do to rush out of the pocket when he was just kind of standing there and he didn't know what to do. So he either passed the ball deep down the field to wherever he could find it, or he just ended up taking the sack. So that's the one thing I would say, but I'm not a quarterback's coach. That's the job of the Gateway quarterback's coach. And now for Pitman, how do you think they feel after tonight? They got to be feeling great, don't they?
Yeah, they have to be. And now the only thing that's kind of in between them is how they are going to kind of be finishing on this in the top 16 if they're going to be able to make the playoffs, or make this push. And that's kind of the only thing that's stopping them. Right now you have you've put on a show here, you dominate it, and now you just got to. It's not in your hands. It's in the hands of the coaches.
So for this upcoming week, as we look at the UPR through October 23rd, I'll run it down for you right now. So Paulsboro won in the 4 spot. We'll just run straight down the list as we get ready to wrap up tonight. Glassboro won in the 1 spot. Woodstown won in the 2 spot. I don't have an update on Shore in the 3 spot. Paulsboro beat Clayton. Shalleck beat Woodbury in the 5 spot. Not sure on Middlesex either. Haddon Township was upset tonight by Sterling 34-6 for just their second loss of the season. Gateway lost to them 13-6 when Aiden Bender tore his ACL. Riverside lost to Lawrence. Burlington City, again, don't have anything on that. Woodbury lost. Pennsville, they play Collingswood. And they are also, not sure where Collingswood is either. I guess they're Group 2. New Egypt, Manville, Clayton, they lost. Audubon forfeited, and Pennsgrove plays tomorrow. So the only teams that Pitman really has to worry about, Audubon's probably out of the playoffs, so that moves everybody up 1. Assume Pennsgrove at the 15, Kip at the 16. Now you just got to worry about Highland Park. I really think that's the only other thing that's stopping them. And if Highland Park loses, I think Pitman's going to sneak into that number 16 spot. So a game that seemed like it meant nothing going into this week now could mean everything for Pitman, because this was a team, remember, 7 years ago, Pitman was a JV team that played 3 games a year. They had about 25 kids. Now they are a full roster that has a winning season over at Davis Field, this storied rivalry with Clayton that's going to go into their 99th year, and they have a chance to make a playoff run and a chance to face the big dogs, and crosstown rivals with Glassboro. Pitman and Glassboro, those high schools are less than 5 minutes away from each other. If they play each other in the playoffs, that would be nuts. But I digress. Our next broadcast will be in about in about 2 hours and 15 minutes in the esports world over in our auto racing scene. But our next real world broadcast will be on Saturday at noon at Salem and Pennsgrove from Pennsgrove High School, right off the Battle of Exit 2. From our entire crew, we had a packed house tonight, and we all delivered. This was an excellent broadcast. Big thanks to Mike DeChico for having us out. He is one of the best athletic directors in South Jersey. I have never seen weekly game notes this complicated, and he does that on top of everything else an athletic director does. This is why we keep coming back to Gateway year in and year out. But from our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Brandon the Keggerland, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Liam Nolan, my producer, Ryan Siebert, my color commentator, Thomas Gaffney, and our shadower of the night, Billy McCauley. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you tomorrow in the afternoon down in Pennsgrove. The final score, 44 for Pitman, Gateway 0.